How do? JR here. Welcome to Workshop Wednesday and the second and final part of our Stanton 7 trophy build. For those who haven't caught the first one of these, we have done trophies for all, I think all Atmo Esports esports within Star Citizen events. First one being Demo Rally, we did the metal cast ones. We've done a cyclone-based diorama, painted diorama trophy for Hearst and Hurt Locker. We've done Run with Kane, similar sort of a painted diorama. That was really cool. Grey Cat social events, painted Grey Cats, and now the Stanton 7. Now the Stanton 7 wanted to be something different, a bit more sort of cutting edge and more sort of F1-y, sci-fi sort of thing. So didn't want to 3D print it, didn't want it to be one of our models painted up, didn't want to go down the route that we did with the Daymar Rally of doing cast metal, because that's quite rough and very like the Dakar Rally trophy. So we thought let's go acrylic, let's go sort of full acrylic with this one, and really make it sort of stand out to be different. Now, in theory, that made it easier, but nothing turns out that way, of course. So just thought I'd take you through the steps relatively quickly, because this was quite a protracted process, and apologies for it not being a video. What you're about to see here took about 5 days to do because of the amount of time we ended up having to leave things between paint. We did a lot of testing with it over a week or so, and we were having a lot of trouble with the masking. Masking onto acrylics is a bit tricky because the acrylic itself doesn't really want to have paint stick to it. It's such a smooth surface. Pre-sanding it would be ideal, but the risk of going over the line and end up scratching the surface you want to keep really good is quite difficult. So what we discovered was the best thing to use was time, to make sure these paints were properly, fully hardened before we even attempted to put any masking on them. So that really meant leaving it ideally 12 to 24 hours between certain coats to sort of really make sure we were going to mess it up. So I'll quickly take you through these because there's quite a lot of photos. So we started off milling with our big CNC machine 20 mil clear acrylic. Now 20 mil clear acrylic is heavy, it's very heavy duty stuff. We've got a bit of a block left over from another job, and I was thinking kind of, what could we use it for? And when this trophy came up, I was like, oh, I totally want to use some of it for this, because we haven't played with it for ages. I really want to do a big PC water block at some point to build into a desk, because I've got a huge piece of it. But yeah, so we thought, yeah, let's base this trophy on this really thick clear acrylic, so that the winners can light it from underneath using just, sort of like lit shelves or what have you, just have any light source around it, will glow really nicely. So that's quite cool. So that is them cut out, buff sanded around the edges. Now you can sort of see on the right hand side one, the peel off has started to come off a little bit. That was a bit annoying, but okay, fine. So you'll see that there are some lines scored into it. That was done with the laser. So we needed to do a masking template, and I wanted to try and utilize its own peel off as much as possible, because as I said, masking onto the clear acrylic is annoying because you do risk leaving a residue and stuff, and its own peel off is really good. There's also a couple of scratches on that far right wall, not into the acrylic, just little scratches on the peel off that has gone all the way through, so we had to sort of make sure we masked those sort of individually as well. So that's with the sort of bit of the peel off taken off that we want. So that bit's going to go red. So we're protecting at this point we want to protect the trophies that we don't want to go red from the paint. So all the sides are painted red, and this bottom section's painted red, but the reverse and the majority of this front we want to stay clear. So bit of repairing masking on the right hand side, as you can see, just making sure that we've got that. And then on the underneath, because I say we want people to be able to uplight these, so we wanted to make sure there was no paint on the very bottom so that it wouldn't stop the light coming up. So we masked that off, as I repaired where we needed to repair on the peel offs. Then we hit it with red. So this is after about 4 coats of red. It's relatively matte, and then it's also had a matte varnish over the top, which is why it's a little bit shinier. But again, what we discovered was that masking straight onto the paint was causing issues. So we did put a lacquer varnish over the top before we went to mask over the top. This is black vinyl. Bit of black vinyl over the top. I have a huge pile of vinyls and tapes and all sorts, and this, out of all the things we could find, left no residue. Tapes were leaving residue. Well, no, sorry. Tapes weren't leaving residue. What tapes were doing, because I didn't have a really good like frog tape that was wide enough, where you got a crossover, when we lasered through it, you could see the fact that it had struggled more to get through when there was a double layer of tape. So you could see those tape lines in the lasering, which was really bizarre. But yeah, so we had to sort of deal with that. So this is now lasered. So what we did was, obviously we masked that bottom bit and lasered through the masking and through the paint underneath it on the bottom bit. So the first, second, third, we'd lasered through the vinyl and the paint. On the 2951 bit, we're just lasering through the paint there, and the peel off underneath. Now, the paint we don't really need, because that's going to come off with the peel off eventually, but it's easier not to take the peel off yet, and we'll just layer it as we go. So now it had to be masked around it so that we didn't get any white paint on the sides or on underneath. Now, I didn't want to put more tape over it where we didn't need to put tape, so I sort of used big bits of paper to make sure that we weren't going to get any overspray or anything. And then it's been painted, and then those things taken off. So you can see we've now basically, this was about 7 coats of white to get it to lay into all where we'd lasered in. So that's now got the white paint laid in. And I say a bit of repair masking going on. We've taken off the white paper, and that's us with all of the top masking off now. So we've taken that peel off the top part to reveal the lettering. You can still see that on the underneath, it's still not properly transparent yet. We've still got the backing on the back. General rule is, when you're dealing with acrylics, especially when you're dealing with acrylics and glues and stuff, if you can leave a peel off on, leave it on. You see, we haven't unmasked the bottom parts, because we said we'd mask those to leave them clear. Only take off what you have to. And this is why we had to take that off at this stage, because we're now putting the black pieces of acrylic on. So these are laser cut 5mm black acrylic pieces that we're putting on. I'd love to have got them thinner at the ends of the 7s at the top. The logo does go very tapered, but when the acrylic gets too thin, the heat from the laser just melts it. And these are certainly too fragile to mill with a machine, with a router. So this was the best we could do. So first black one on, far right black one on, then the white bits to make up the 7s at the top, then the second black piece in. So we had a few goes on this. You'll see a couple of spare ones up on the top right that just were 1/2 mil too short, so we just keep cutting them till they fit perfectly. Obviously all this stuff is done in CAD, but when you're putting it together by hand, gluing it together by hand, sometimes you just need to go, you know what, for whatever reason this just doesn't look right, it needs to be 1/2 mil longer. You just cut one that's 1/2 mil longer. Just don't even think about it, bosh, do it, make it look right. Don't force what you're using to meet your needs. Just get it right. So we'll quickly go through these. So these are the other part of the base that gives it its full shape. Pretty much the same process, a little bit simpler. So masked and painted red, vinyls again, white paper masking to stop the overspray. Spray them white, take them off. And then there's not really you can't really see a lot of difference, but we've taken the masking off, so these bits are clear. It's difficult to tell because it's reflecting the red from the other side, but it's so that all the light can permeate through this stuff. And it should light the Stanton 7 bit underneath and all that kind of stuff, so it's quite nice. And then we put them together. So that little L at the bottom makes the bottom of the stand. We obviously have to take the peel-offs off the back now because those two bits are glued together. Super stable. Not ludicrously heavy, not like the sort of weight of our metal ones by any stretch, but yeah, it's they're a decent weight. 'Cause, I mean, they're 40mm thick at the bottom, 20mm the rest of it. So. So yeah, didn't realize the event was going on at all, and so I tweeted them out, and Crucian admired, put them up within minutes. He was like, "Oh, fine." So I jumped into the chat and had a word, but yeah, so that's really nice. Lasered the boxes like we do with our sort of kit model boxes, and then obviously custom foam for the inside, so you get that kind of nice unboxing experience, and sitting really nice inside. I made the decision very early on in this process that I was going to make these trophies fit the boxes that we use. So second and third are the same size; they fit in the small box. First place goes in the big box. So there's a nice sort of, they're nice and cohesive. They look nice, they box nice, they ship nice, and hopefully people that get them will be really stoked for them. So that's cool. So that's yet another Atmo Esports events that we have managed to do the trophies for. There's still more to come. I'm sure they've still got more events sort of up their sleeve for us to have a go at. They always like to surprise us with another event. But if not, Hurst and Hurtlocker will be next again. So looking forward to doing some different stuff with that trophy, and then Daymar Rally again, go with different colors, and we just keep changing it up, but keep that sort of each year on year feel like they go together, so that people who win them year on year will sort of be able to collect them up a little bit, but each different event is very different. So thank you very much for tuning in. Hope that was quite interesting. Certainly I've not done acrylic work for a long time. It is very finicky, and you can't really make a lot of mistakes with it. It's very unforgiving, but it was fun. It was nice to do something different, and yeah, looking forward to the Hurst and Hurtlocker trophies again. See what we do with that. Till next time, ta-da.